I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans. And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field. Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What's up? A Independence Day installment of the program. Kind of. It's July 2nd. We're recording this in the Evergreen show. So not a lot of breaking news today. We want this to be a deal where you can listen to wherever you're driving. Bloom going up to the northwestern corner of the state. God's country over in the 712. Shout out to the 712 area code.
Yeah, I mean, technically this isn't 712. This would be the
what?
Armstrong area, which I believe is still 515.
No way. Seriously?
Fairmont, Minnesota, which is definitely not 712. Yeah, they don't get. Where is the 712 line? Like, I think it's definitely west of Armstrong. Maybe around Esterville, Emmitsburg. Where's the line? It's like
Aiden, can you find the line?
It's
can't
like
even see the line, can you, Russ?
Can't see the line. Where's the 7? I think it's got to be like Emmitsburg.
Well, that's a good point because you get over to where I'm from and there's a bunch of 641s.
There. Oh, look at Aiden producing. Yeah. So where is that?
Look at that 641 area code. What a jacked up line that is.
So, when I get a 641, it's like it's Marshalltown or it could be like
Holy
Southern
mackerel.
Iowa. What are we doing with that?
This is like some gerrymandering of area codes if I ever did see it right here.
We need a podcast on the Iowa area codes and how we got into
How in the hell did this become a thing? I'm serious. If anyone out there is an expert on this, I want to have you on my CW pod on Iowa Everywhere. This is fascinating to me. I've never actually looked at it. Thank you so much, Aiden. Good work on the production.
Why are they all so random, like different numbers? Who decides the area codes?
That's bizarre.
It also says 2007. Is there a chance things have changed?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think there would be.
Is. That's interesting that 515 is the smallest pocket, but yet probably has the most numbers.
Yeah. So it's funny when I look at this map in our Major League Baseball circles, Bloom. So we used to be pretty into the Cardinals and Royals with our old job.
Oh, yeah.
And so I know a lot of Royals and Cardinals people, like who work within those organizations, to the point where years ago, I would go to a lot of Royals games and walk around their even front office and stuff like that. Like, I'm not a big, but I just knew some people there and like the radio network people and all that stuff. The Royals still claim that the Cardinals screwed them on the TV, the way the MLB TV lines are drawn.
Yeah.
They claim they still to this day believe that their fan base is like exponentially smaller because of some TV line that the Cardinals got. But and again, I don't know all the details, but we all know about MLB and like what makes that league go for the longest time was your local television
TV.
pack.
Yeah. It's changed a little bit, but it's still very important.
And the Royals absolutely hate the Cardinals because of these political decisions that were made like in the 80s and 90s on the TV line.
For real, I'm 40 years old, C-Dub. You're obviously just one more north of that.
Yes.
You had a birthday. You look great, though.
Thank
you. I never have investigated how we got area codes where we did. I'm going to do a deep dive over the holiday here.
Well, if there's an expert, I'd like to talk to him.
Yeah, we would like to know because and why this. Aiden, bring that map up again. What's going on with the 641 area code? Like, what are we doing here? That is hideous.
I mean, it starts with it at the northern border, central. It's the whole central northern aspect other than a little pinch of 515.
Yeah.
And then it shrinks, goes to the east of Des Moines, down all the way to the southern border, and then it like trickles back over, up and around, Atlantic?
Yeah, say that's right around Atlantic.
Yeah.
That Atlantic Greenfield cut off.
Greenfield is 641.
Is it?
I know that because I have some Greenfield friends.
What about Leon? Lamoni?
Leon would be 641, I would think. Yeah. I have relatives there. What a world.
Lennox is 641. I remember
Lennox
that.
is 641.
Yep.
Remember that from calling those coaches at KMA, don't you?
I do. What? Now it always bothers me.
Nottoway Valley. That was a 641 call.
Daryl Burmeister. Shout out, Daryl. If you're still around, pal. Legend.
Well, that guy was a hell of a coach, man.
Great.
One of the great prep basketball coaches in Iowa.
He was the Bobby Knight of Southern Iowa.
Big rivalry between Clarinda and Nottoway Valley there for a few years.
If you're down there, you appreciate this conversation. If you don't, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Shout out to Greenfield. Anyways, this was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, good chat.
Good poll, Aiden. We are presented as always by our friends at Mechdyne and the Mechdyne Corporation. They are great partners of ours, and we absolutely love working with Chris Clover and the team over at Mechdyne.
He has a 641 area code.
He does have Marshalltown 641. We're promoting that they are hiring right now. That they're always looking for good Iowa State candidates, but they're hiring in sales in Marshalltown and Naperville, Illinois. So go to mechdyne.com if you're interested. MECHDYNE.com. All right. So today's show, there's good news is there's not a lot of news, but we are going to try and keep it again evergreen, and we're going to talk Big 12 football with Media Days coming up. Thanks to Fairway Meat and Grocery. They're going to be our sponsor for Jake, Brent, and I being in Dallas next week, covering the Big 12 football Media Days. We're going to do what everybody is doing in the media, it feels like. All these different entities are like creating their own polls. And this is a problem because now it's like not all of these are created equal. I spent 20 minutes yesterday breaking down what I would do if I were the Big 12 commissioner. It's on Iowa Everywhere if you want to go listen to it. I actually think it's a really good idea. I'll run it by you real quick. Basically, we do a super poll. Every SID selects the most credible beat writer on the beat. Maybe you move it around year to year too. I don't know. Whatever. We're going to get 2 odds makers and like just analytics people. They don't have to be Vegas, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get 2 national types that cover the league. So it would be like if we had a basketball, I want to be Fran Fraschilla because he knows every team. He sees every team. So get a couple of TV people who do a lot of Big 12 games who study this league for a living. We're going to have 20 voters. We're going to have a dinner down at the Media Days event where all the general managers of the team are going to speak. And they're going to give us a little insight on transfers. And we're going to make this like a real thing because instead of just making it like, oh, fill out your ballot. No, this is going to be like we're going to take pride in this poll. And then the ballots are due August 15th. We don't need to do it on July 1.
Yeah, because you don't know. There's going to be injuries.
Nobody knows. Like I use the example of like this kid from Yale on the D line. I don't know how he's going to be. I hope he's going to be really good.
He just got to campus 2 weeks ago.
I have no idea how that kid is going to be. So that's what I would do. We don't need to abolish this thing, just make it better.
And let's get some content out of it. I would love to hear from the GMs and the personnel people for their teams. Like I think that'd be fascinating. Almost like the World Cup drawing.
In the next 5 years, they should have podium time at Media Days.
They should have podium time right now.
I agree, but I also know how bureaucratic and slowly all this stuff moves, so I'm trying to... It's like I always tell my wife, like, I'm living in reality here, okay? Like, we can't get all this stuff done. We don't have enough time, okay?
How does that go over with your wife?
Not well.
Yeah.
Rolls her eyes. No, I'm living in reality. They're going to try and keep this stuff as secretive as humanly possible, but I think they're missing out on a big opportunity, and this is where I'm going to use you to infiltrate all this stuff.
I like it.
I like it. I'm telling you, if y'all want more revenue, right? You want to make more money. We got to pay all these people now. We need more income. You need to embrace the off season like the NBA does like Formula One does. You look at these leagues that the NFL does. You need to embrace it. Have these GMs do press conferences. Let's, if you're going to let agents screw around with this thing, then put them on the record, is how I say it. So, and we're not there, and we're not going to get there for a while. But if you're going to, if we're all going to keep professionalizing this thing, then let's treat it professional.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should hear more from Derek Hooger at Iowa State. I think the guy's great.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be great, but also I understand there is a lot of bureaucracy in college sports, as we've come to know, moves very slowly.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If I was Matt Campbell, I wouldn't want that.
No.
Like, there's a difference here. Like, this is me saying what I think would be best for the sport long term.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if I'm one of those people, I'm going to be protective of the information and all that.
Totally. Like, that's exactly it. And that doesn't make anybody a bad person here.
No.
It's just everybody is doing what's best for them.
But my favorite sport is racing, right? I've talked about, everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that.
But I also love, I'm more interested in the NBA right now than I am during the season.
It's all over the place right now. It's great.
But racing Formula One does this really well, where the news cycle just never ends. It's like the middle of November, they don't have any race, or it's December, there's no races going on, but there's, this driver is having this available. Like, fans want that. Like, fans crave real insight and information on roster building and all that. And this is just a deal that it's been so in the dark. I mean, it used to be an NCAA violation if a coach would off the record tell a reporter about an incoming recruit. Yeah. Now, it happened all the time, but technically they could get in trouble for that. So you've got this whole industry that is just shifting overnight. So that's why I said it's not going to happen for a while. But I would love to go down to Dallas and hear Arizona State's GM talk about how they approach the transfer. I would love the Texas Tech GM. I'd love to ask that guy some questions right now.
Yes, and then the other thing I throw in there too is I think you take a page of the NFL and open up some fall camp practices to the public.
Yeah.
Maybe even sell a ticket or two. I don't know. I mean, that buzz generated, just think about the NFL is going to take over the news cycle here in about 10 days because they're going to open up camp, and it is going to be an onslaught of all of these reports. And again, as much as we make fun of it, clicks drive interest, which drives money. So let's try and give some people what they want.
Yeah. And let's be honest, they're not going to say anything interesting anyway.
Oh, well.
But that's where our job comes in.
I remember I got yelled at. Chris, you remember this, and it's just funny how much it's changed, but also it hasn't a whole lot. I remember like it was yesterday. Yes, spring practice. It was my first spring covering Iowa State for the artist formerly known as CycloneNation.com. Wow, seems like a long time ago. So this was 20 years ago, and John Davis tore his Achilles on the field. Like, it's very obvious what happened. And I wrote in my, which I'm sure was read by hundreds of thousands on the Cyclone Nation message board.
Hundreds.
John Davis appeared to go down with a lower body injury.
Yeah, you didn't give, I specifically remember.
Yeah, and you would have thought that I exposed nuclear secrets.
Yeah.
Tom Crochelle and Coach Mack were not happy with me, and I think I almost got
I got my ass chewed.
Yeah, I had to. So, point is, even though that was out there and very clear, they're still very slow to adapt, and I have a hard time thinking that'll ever change. But I do think having more access could be good, and I guess I don't know what it hurts.
I think it'll change.
It will.
It's just, it's going to take a while. It doesn't change overnight. Nothing does. And again, my whole thing is, I don't really care. I guess I care about during the season when they don't give injuries, at least something that bothers me personally, because it makes us look stupid and then fans get mad at us, and from a very selfish standpoint.
Sure.
We're trying to do our job, but in their mind, they're doing their job too, because there's nothing that says they have to they have to put out the information. So if I'm a fan, I would want it to be as quiet as possible, because if the coach believes that it gives me a better opportunity for my team to win, then go for it.
Yep.
I guess what I'm saying is, an industry, I think we need to require more transparency across the board. I don't know where I'm at. I need to learn more. I need a year to decide if I think we have the right to know what the quarterback is being paid.
It's an interesting philosophical question.
Yeah, I don't know if we deserve that. I know from a fan standpoint, I think that it's relevant information. How is the program spreading around the money that it has? And I think that, you're an MLB guy, right? Like, well, that's a bad example because they don't have a cap. Take anything. It's like you're watching your favorite sport and, the Vikings invested in the defensive line this year. Well, if the defensive line sucks, then it was a bad GM move.
Then it's on the GM, yeah. Well, it's like the Milwaukee Bucks just had to waive Damian Lillard and his $200 million contract. Well, that's a terrible trade. Like, GM needs called out for that. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect because these decisions are harder because I think the example that we've talked about before is, imagine if the Vikings and the Timberwolves had the same salary cap, which makes it extra hard because who do you blame then, right? Because you can blame the football GM, but also could you blame the administration because football didn't get enough? So there's a lot of moving parts here. That said, I still don't know, C-Dub. I've got asked a lot. Will these things ever be made public? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know if those quote-unquote revenue share agreements with the players will be subject to public record or not. It's still very much up in the air.
Well, I know that the universities are going to fight that as much as possible.
And I don't blame them either.
Yeah, I don't either.
You don't want to be the only one to do it. If everybody else
The problem
does,
will be if 14 teams in the league are doing it and you're not, and then the whole thing is, again, we are moving lightning fast at a place that moves like a glacier.
You got
right?
it. You got
so
it.
I give grace to everybody involved here. But I do think what'll need to happen is you're going to have more Brett Yormarks and fewer Mike Gundys for this stuff to happen. Like, there's going to be a generational shift. Pollard's never going to sign up for the stuff that, like, we're talking about here. Like, I just don't think he will. Like, I don't think Jamie Pollard will ever be like, yeah, let's release the cap numbers. It's just not. And one might say, like, in my world in racing, it's a competitive advantage to keep the secret of it. So, like, if you're Hendrick Motorsports at NASCAR, you don't want Joe Gibbs Racing to know how much you're spending on your wind tunnel time or versus whatever, right?
Sure.
Like, because they all have caps and stuff like that.
Proprietary information.
Yeah, so I get it all, but as a fan, few things excite me more than the Vikings offseason, the Braves offseason, and Formula One offseason, like when things are moving around. Like, because that's starting right now. Like, I woke up and there's all these Max Verstappen rumors and Mercedes and all this stuff. And, like, I'm more into that than I am the races. And there's a lot of people throughout our entire premium message board who feel the same way about Iowa State. They just want to know details on these guys, and it'll make them a bigger fan.
And now, C-Dub, my new world of revenue generation to help Iowa State and NIL, the more access, it means the more things you can honestly sell.
So, yeah, like Rocco,
You know what I mean?
Rocco on a Tuesday wearing a logo on his chest.
Or even just here are practice highlights brought to you by Mechdyne.
Yeah.
Like that's where, having worked in the NBA a little bit and then, seeing it now at the pros, they monetize everything.
They do.
I know that gets old for people, but also it's how the world goes.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to lean into some of that stuff.
It gets old for people, but losing does too.
So does losing. Right. I mean, just think, like, watch the Vikings practice summer. Look at everything that's sponsored. Everything's sponsored. Everything, but that's the point. And we can't go professional and start asking fans for more and more and not try and do some of these other things too. And I think I'm kind of yelling into a void here, but that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, the sooner people can just accept that this is different, it'll be better for.
It doesn't mean it's worse. Doesn't mean it's better, but it's different. It's changing.
And it might be worse to some, and it might be better to some. Like, there's going to be a lot of fans in the next 5 years who will care less about the NFL and be more into their college team across the country. I don't know about Iowa State because we already have the diehards, but if you're a Tennessee fan, and now all of a sudden you can follow Tennessee's silly season stuff all season long, all year long. Like, are you as big of a Titans fan? I don't know, but we all only have so much time and money. I mean, it's different for me because it's my job, but I'll probably pay less attention to the Vikings off season if Iowa State's doing this stuff. Just
good chat. I'm
so
really
much
curious
bandwidth.
Curious to see where it goes.
So that's what I would do with my poll. That's the Williams poll.
Yes. So we're gonna do our poll. We're gonna do our own official Williams and Blum poll because the Gautses are doing theirs, right? We've got the media and the coaches don't want to do one, but you know what we said? We said it's the holiday. We're going to do it.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about some football here. Let's talk about some. Well, first of all, did you see Red Panda?
I did. Everything okay? I saw a potential wrist injury.
Well,
oh, here we go. Here's the video. She's doing her thing at the WNBA.
I don't want to watch her fall. It's too painful to.
And down she goes. Oh, you saw. Oh, grab for the wrist immediately. And then we cut. We cut to black. That's not a good sign. It's a TV term.
I get on Twitter.
You've been on the Red Panda thing for a while. What are your thoughts?
Well, I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
All these people on Twitter accusing me of like knocking over her unicycle last night. I don't wish that upon her.
Like Jeff Galooly and Tanya Harding.
Yeah. I guess my first response was that, man, I hope that. Imagine if she had changed up her act and made things more difficult over the years.
You saying it would have happened sooner?
Saying it could have been a lot worse.
So, I mean, I say
it's actually shocking this doesn't happen more often. It shows you how good she is at what she does.
Right. Super respectfully. But at some point, LeBron's going to retire. Tom Brady retired. What time does the Red Panda hang up the cycle? Is it now? Because a wrist injury on the surface probably doesn't impact the act a whole lot. Because you really don't need your wrist when you're on the cycle. Now, when you're putting the bowl on your head, like you could use a little bit of a wrist. So this may not prevent the act. However, she's got to be wondering, is it time? And that would be...
She's still the most popular thing, though.
No question. But it's kind of like when the quarterback gets hit one too many times, it's like, is this worth it anymore? It's a big question. But at the same time, you saw this week that who are the hot dog guys? Who's the big hot dog eating guy?
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut.
He's back.
He says, I'm doing this until I die. I'm like, I respect that. So, maybe the Panda takes the Chestnut and just said, I'm doing it until I can't anymore. I don't care about my health. We'll see. This is a crossroads for the Panda.
It's tough stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough stuff. We wanted to acknowledge that. No, yeah. I'm not happy that she fell. Everybody, stop tweeting at me about it. Poor thing. I want to give our friends, before we get into much, our friends at Central States Roofing, csrroofing.com. Probably a quiet year for them. There's not been. Have we even been in a tornado warning?
No. This is
I'm sure there's like new construction because they do all the construction for. They do all the commercial stuff.
Yeah.
But like there hasn't been like hail damage and too much of that. Knock on wood.
We've been pretty good on that area.
We have been pretty good. But I wanted to give a shout out to our buddies over at Central States Roofing because they are awesome supporters of what we do. and we appreciate them for being a part of the show. Same with our friends at Gravitate Co-working, been with us a long time. GravitateCoworking.com. They are our buddy Jeff Wood over there doing a great job in the co-working space. And, of course, it is that time of year. It's Hopewood season where you got to get that life insurance because the cardiac clones are coming. The cardiac clones are coming.
6 weeks. 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks you have to get your life insurance before the cardiac clones take the stage.
We're closer to Dublin than we are Memorial Day at this point.
HopewoodJD.com.
Get it done. You can get it done in a day. So, like, you've got 6 weeks. Like, but let's not diddle around a little bit here.
No diddling. All right. Here's how we're going to do this. This is not an official poll because, like I said, I don't want to do my official poll until like August 15th. I think that's a fair.
Got it.
But like we should try and just rank the top 10 here. How would we do it if we could put our heads together to do it? And then we're not even factoring schedules here because, and that's. Let's just go through some of these teams and weigh what we like, what we don't like, what are we looking for to try and do this. So with that, I would put Arizona State number 1.
Agreed. I'm putting them 1. I'm letting them live up to it. Obviously, Levitt's really good. Return a bunch. What is it? 16 starters. Lose Scadaboo. But they picked up the Army running back. Iowa State actually was interested in him too, the Udo kid. He was not Scatterby, but he's a really nice piece. And then a lot of people don't realize is they got, Tyson, the receiver, who was one of the better receivers in the Big 12, got hurt in the last game of the year, didn't even play in the Big 12 championship game, didn't play in the playoff game, and he had over 1,000 yards or close to it. So they're going to be formidable. And they return a bunch on the offense and defensive lines. I think obviously Dillingham's really good. I got to put Arizona State until proven otherwise.
It mainly to me, it's just the starters back, the quarterback, and continuity of coaching, right? Like there's no, to my knowledge,
let's not overthink it here.
Yeah, there's no coordinator changes. Same head coach, same quarterback. I get the Scadaboo thing. Like he single-handedly just grabbed games and won. So that's a huge thing. But their roster is probably, it's definitely in the top 4, top to bottom.
No question.
Probably top like 2. Don't overthink this.
They had a nice portal season as well. I'm just not overthinking. I'm putting the Sun Devils number 1.
Kansas State's interesting to me because I have my Athlon here, and a lot of people are slotting them
I know.
number 1. I don't think I would.
They've been as consistent as anybody.
Yeah.
And obviously with Avery Johnson, Dylan Edwards back, they got some punch. I have a hard time putting them at 2. I'm going to put them C-Dub. I'm actually going to put them at 4 for me. I'm going to put K-State at 4. And I'm not to be a homer here, but again, keeping with my theory of prove it, you've proven it already, I'm going to put Iowa State 2. Iowa State played in the Big 12 championship game, returns the second most starters in the league, including quarterback, the head coach, the offensive and defensive coordinators, most of the offensive line. Big question at wide receiver, clearly. But I believe Iowa State has less question marks than what I would put at 3, which would be Texas Tech and K-State at number 4. What do you think about that?
I mean, Kansas State and Iowa State are kind of similar programs to me from the consistency thing. It's just I feel like of all these teams, let's say the top 4. Don't you think there's a top 4, like a clear top 4?
I agree with that.
Okay.
I do.
Of the 4, I feel like there's less of a chance that Iowa State or Kansas State just tank compared to Texas Tech or even Arizona State. Only in the sense of, like, that Arizona State season, like, they had some close calls, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so did Iowa State. Iowa State had to win a lot, but it was like this, like, sustain. I think Iowa State is going to be even more
steady.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to have the swings. Now, does that result in 10 wins? I don't know. It could be 8. But I feel like Kansas State will be more steady too, with Johnson having played more, where it's like there seems to be more variables with Arizona. Even though I'm picking Arizona State to win, like they were picked 16th last year, right?
Yeah, and
it was clearly wrong, but you lose a generational player. So I think I'll go with you. I'll put Iowa State 2. I'll put Kansas State 3, and I'll put Texas Tech 4.
Okay, I'm flipping Tech and K-State. I mean,
okay.
Chris, I don't think people realize what exactly Tech did in the portal yet, but I'm going to give you some names. They got the best defensive end from Stanford in David Bailey. They got the best defensive lineman from UCF in Lee Hunter, who completely ruined Iowa State's game at times up in Ames. The big guy, I think he was number 2. He just was in the backfield all the time. NFL dude. They got the running back from USC and Joyner, who's really good. Micah Hudson's a 5-star receiver that they got from A&M. They got an offensive tackle from North Carolina who was one of the best in the ACC. And they got Georgia Tech's best defensive end. Like, they went all in, and not just all in on skill guys, which can be flashy but doesn't do anything. They went all in on big dudes. And they got some, like, men inside. Defensive tackle, defensive end, offensive line. They could overwhelm people, just like those old SEC schools.
They have the best roster, right?
I mean, pure talent level. If you're just looking at NFL, there's probably no question. Now, can you get those guys to play hard? I don't know, and that's legit the question with them. And why was Saban so good, and why Kirby Smart's so good, is he got really talented players to play their ass off. And I don't know if Joey McGuire can do that yet. I don't know. These guys have talent. Can they play together? And if something goes sideways, will they fall apart or will they stick together? And I have questions about the quarterback there. So, but they spent money, and they didn't just spend money. They went on some big-time dudes, literally size-wise and talent-wise. And they have to have the best roster in the league from a NFL standpoint.
Yeah, I would agree. And I don't know. I'll put it this way. I think Kansas State and Iowa State are the most consistent. I think they have the third and fourth, however you put it, best chances to actually win the league. I think that I could see Tech being the one team that's like
just blows everybody away.
12-0.
Yeah, I could see that too. Yep.
But I could also see them being Florida State last year.
Great point. Yep. They are the team, in my opinion, that could be the one team that is just head and shoulders above everybody else. But also 7-5 is realistic with them because you don't know how it's going to come together.
And again, this is why they're not doing this poll. Because it's so difficult. And I give the Big 12 credit for recognizing that.
But we have a consensus here. I think the top 4 are a
I think the top 4 are.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do.
Okay, so who do you put 5 through 10?
This is where it gets really hard for me because BYU would be up there normally, but they got the quarterback situation with Retzloff off the team.
You got to acknowledge that.
Got a lot of guys back. Baylor's in the conversation for sure with Robertson. I just can't trust him. I can't trust Baylor.
Utah likes its line.
Utah likes it a lot. They went all in on the portal and they got Dampier from.
I think that they're going to be better off without that quarterback drama every week.
I'm going to put hot take on the holiday, on the fireworks season. I'm putting Utah number 5 in my poll.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it.
Okay.
I don't hate it at all. I would definitely put them above Baylor.
I'm putting them above Baylor. I could agree on that.
Here's the ones I'm tossing around right now. I'm looking at TCU and Kansas.
Yep.
And I'm also I'm flirting with Houston.
Mm-mm. I mean, I'm flirting. I'm flirting in the top 10. I'm not
in the top 10. I'm not saying to put them at 5.
Yeah.
I just think that Willie will see a big improvement there. I don't believe Houston belongs in the Oklahoma State, West Virginia, UCF category.
Okay.
I think that they will see a increase. Colorado is the team that I understand. Like, they spend money. Dion has the flash, but they had 2 generational guys last year too, who are gone. It took them like a Hail Mary to beat Baylor. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're in the 10 to 12 range for me, right?
I'm not putting them in the top 8. The thing with them, and Dion gets the attention here, their staff is pretty good, though. So I think they're going to have a nice – I just don't know. I mean, quarterback question could be really good. Yeah, I'm – honestly, C-Dub, I like TCU more than Colorado for sure. I like Baylor. Too. I like Baylor more than Colorado. Obviously, I said Utah. And I like Kansas more than Colorado.
All right, so this is the Williams and Blum poll because we have to come to a consensus.
Yeah.
So we're going to go Arizona State 1, Iowa State 2.
Yep.
I'll give you Texas Tech over Kansas State.
Okay.
Texas Tech 3.
Yep.
4th will be Kansas State.
Yep.
I'll go with you Utah at 5.
All right. Thank you.
At 6, I think we are down to Kansas and TCU.
Yeah, I'm going to go TCU. No? You want to go Kansas? I'm fine. You gave me one. I'll give you one.
That's one where we're not doing the schedule here, but that we'll do the schedule when we come up with our official poll on August 15th.
Perfect. I'm going to give you Kansas then, pal.
I just like the quarterback.
I get it.
And Leipold. Like, Sonny Dykes, like, to me, that really feels granted, I think they're going to be a lot better this year.
I like their quarterback too. I like Hoover.
Who would you take if you could start a program right now?
Hoover or Daniels?
Yeah.
Hoover.
Really?
Hmm?
Really?
I would.
I mean, I think from a culture and leadership and all that stuff, I would. But man, Daniels is like,
I know.
He's got like all of a sudden he looks like RG3 out there.
But it can go the wrong way really fast.
It can, but he's matured a lot. He has to have because he's old now. Lance has worked with him forever. And the fact that he's still at Kansas should tell you something.
And they had a weird year last year. They were really close. And, Chris, they haven't slowed down spending on football. Like, they are in on football. I'm going to give it to you here. I'm going to give you Kansas here.
Okay. So we're going Kansas at 6.
Yep.
Now it's Baylor, TCU, Colorado, Houston, and BYU, I guess, without.
Yeah, we got to put BYU in there. We got to put. They're just going to be
roster-wise. They're better than these other teams.
I think so, and they'll find a quarterback. Retzloff wasn't like he was.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go BYU. I'm good with that. 7.
BYU 7, TCU 8.
TCU 8. 9. So
Baylor.
Now we're at Colorado, Houston, Cincinnati.
What about
Unless
Baylor?
you want to bounce Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Arizona, UCF.
Well, let's get Baylor in at 9. We haven't had
Baylor. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Baylor at 9.
Yeah, Baylor at 9. God,
I'm going to throw
the Waco people are not going to be happy.
No, they're not. I get it. I understand. And fair to rebut there.
We're pretty mixed 5 through 10 here.
Yeah, I'm not married to any of these.
That Kansas team though, I think I'm skewed based on what they've done to Iowa State's defense.
Well, but they
were so freaking good at the end of last year though.
They were, and then they had a great year in 23.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like this came out of nowhere.
All right, so Baylor 9, and then
I'm going to throw a wild card. I'm higher than most on Cincinnati.
Really?
Higher than most.
I would not have guessed that. Well, I'm a Tyson Vike guy.
Obviously, we like Tyson. I think Sorsby's really good, the quarterback there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're potentially back understanding what it takes at this level. They invest. They care. I could see Cincinnati having one of those seasons like, oh, Cincinnati's hanging around. But I'm not putting them at 10. I think for the sake of conservative pickdom here, I think you got to go with who's left?
Colorado, Houston.
Yeah, not Arizona, not UCF.
West Virginia.
Let's go Houston.
I think
let's buy
whatever
some
it
Willie
is,
Fritz. Let's buy some Willie Fritz.
I would just say that they are probably the most likely to outperform in this group because of Fritz and a little bit how I think about Iowa State this year. Just his style. He's a lot like Campbell. He's going to eliminate risk where their high end is not going to be as, which again, we think is why the 2021 Iowa State team was a little bit underwhelming. I think if they would have done a little bit more aggressive, but they probably wouldn't have. It probably could have been worse too, right?
Yes.
Like that. I think Fritz. How are they spending?
Decent. They had a nice portal haul led by Wegman, the quarterback.
Yes.
And keep in mind, the quarterback play for them was horrible.
Well, that's the thing, and they still were like in games.
They were. The defense was good for them, and it will continue to be good. Now, they lost 2 really good defensive players to the SEC. I mean, they got rated that regard. They're solid enough. He's going to keep them in games, and I trust Fritz more than I do the Satterfields, the Frosts, the Rich Rods, the Arizona guy, and even Dion.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if Colorado's not gonna the amount of individual plays that Travis Hunter and Shadir Sanders made for them.
Yeah.
You do like that is another storyline. Like, how does the league replace Hunter and Scatterbo from a perception standpoint?
Well, and I'm fascinated. Does Colorado get anywhere near the attention? I mean, they still have Dion, but
can you name another player on that team if you're just a random fan?
can you try at home? I got nothing. I mean, I know their quarterback now is the Liberty guy.
I'm looking right now. Again, this is just the Athlon. It's right in front of me. Preseason, all Big 12. They have an offensive lineman and they have a corner. First team, DJ McKinney. He's really good.
It's just what made Colorado so captivating. It wasn't just Dion. Yes, it was Dion and all the stuff he was getting into, but Shador and Travis Hunter that was a reality show. And I think they lost some of the reality show members.
To your point, now they did get the Liberty quarterback.
Salter. He's a nice player.
So, but to your point, they do have the coordinators back. There's continuity there. I'll give them some. I'll give them a point for that.
Yep, depth should be better. They didn't have the mass exodus they have. Let's go Willie. Let's give some Willie Fritz love here on the pod.
Okay.
At 10.
So the Williams and Blum poll on July 2nd.
Yep.
It goes Arizona State.
Yep.
I'll mark this down here. It goes Iowa State. Mm-hmm. It goes Texas Tech and Kansas State. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is Utah.
Yes.
6 was TCU. No, Kansas.
We gave them some love.
7 was BYU. 8 was TCU. 9 Baylor. 10 Houston.
There we go.
Which of these teams is most likely to surprise us? And do I don't know if anybody can do what Arizona State did last year, but let's say jump into the top 5. Which of these teams is most likely to do that? Colorado, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Arizona, or UCF?
I'll say of the list, just because the more unknowns I know about anybody, I'm going Oklahoma State here.
Yeah, I would almost
38 transfers for them. 38, which
could you imagine? And they have 2 new coordinators.
So they're a complete question mark.
Can you imagine Gundy's off? He has to hate this.
There's no way he knows everybody on his team.
No. How could you?
He's definitely calling people coach and boss and pal.
Oh, yeah. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, hey, buddy.
Hey, dude.
I'm gonna put that because I don't know. I don't know what to expect from them. And I like I said earlier, I think Cincinnati is gonna be better than people think.
Presented by Mechdyne. The entire show was your Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment,
Look at my shirt.
the way. Oh, Blum's wearing the Wiffles. Plant your independence, plant Wiffles. Shout out to Kelderman Manufacturing for sponsoring the show as always. It is America's birthday. I would encourage you to buy yourself a bottle of Cody Road Bourbon.
Light off some fireworks.
Hey,
Let's go.
real talk tomorrow. I'm going to the Iowa Clinic. Got a dermatologist appointment.
There you go.
Taking care of myself.
There you go, buddy. Something you should do.
Dr. Nicholson gave me a referral. Gonna go get the old. Nothing's wrong.
Nope. It's a good thing.
I got no problems. Old man's had some of the skin stuff.
Yep.
So I'm going to get it checked out, but I got good doctors over there at the Iowa Clinic taking care of me.
It's a good reminder. Good reminder for all of us.
Absolutely. And it's like this time of year, too, when you're bald. Cover the head. Put some sun. I'm serious. Like, I walk around all the time. My head it doesn't ever burn either, which is the hard part. Because it's not telling me, like, hey, that hurts.
That hurt, pal.
So I could just get fried and have no idea. So my good friends over at the Iowa Clinic taking good care of me. Happy Independence Day, everybody. We hope you travel safe. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks to Aiden White, as always, for producing our program here on Wednesdays. Williams and Blum will be back on Sunday night, where we'll look ahead. We will have media days next week, so real football talk starting up. Looking forward to getting to Dallas. For Brent Blum, for Aiden Wyatt, my name is Chris Williams. We will be back Sunday here on Cyclone Fanatic.